A bill proposed by a Kansas state representative contains new regulations for what it calls sexually oriented businesses. KUJH TV's Brett Turner explains why the new regulations could mean big changes for these types of businesses locally owned.
The term sexually oriented business refers to places like strip clubs, adult video or bookstores, adult movie theaters, and sexual device shops. If the bill is signed into law, these businesses will have to abide by the new state law in addition to any existing city or county regulations. The proposed bill, written by Republican Lance Kinzer from Olathe, would prohibit sexually oriented businesses from being open between midnight and 6 a.m. It also outlaws all totally nude strip clubs. It prohibits any physical contact between dancers and patrons at partially nude strip clubs and requires the dancers to remain on a stage that is at least 6 feet away from the clientele. No alcohol will be served at these establishments. The bill also contains a measure that would preempt any existing local zoning laws and prohibit a sexually oriented business from being built within 1,000 feet of a house of worship. They will also not be allowed to open within 1,000 feet of a school, daycare facility, public library or park, or a residence. The executive director of the Kansas City office of the National Coalition for the Protection of Children and Families, Philip Cosby, says such regulations are necessary to protect citizens from what he calls the harmful secondary effects of sexually oriented businesses.
It is repeatable, historical, a mathematical certainty that when these places do move into a community, it will increase crime, it will increase sexually transmitted diseases, it will increase blight and decrease property values. Those are some of the typical things that happen in a community.
Cosby says that regulation at the state level is necessary to protect small communities from a very lucrative sex industry.
And when they ambush a community that has no protection in place, no zoning ordinance in place, then that porn shop or strip club opens up and they say, we're protected by the First Amendment, you can't touch us, and if you try, we will sue you and bankrupt you.
The manager of Whispers Gentlemen's Club in Leavenworth County, Justin Jackson, sees things a little differently. He doesn't think that strip clubs have ambushed anybody.
They all do not impose themselves on a community. They don't impose themselves on the community around them, make people come into it. It's a choice that everybody wants to make, to come in here or not.
He's also worried about what might happen to his business if the bill passes. Jackson thinks the stage distance and no touching rules could be devastating.
They're sitting on stage all the time, that's the only time they get to see them. What's the use of going to a strip club? You know, most guys come in here for lap dances.
Kansas legislators probably won't vote on it until the 2009 session. Brett Turner, KUJH TV News.